Welcome. You've splash landed into this Prosecco-laden podcast, straight into the woo-woo pool with the crew of Ohm-g. We're just a simple group of tragically imperfect and highly empathic BFFs, exploring a wide range of atypical topics with humor, grace, and curiosity. This is Ohm-g. Welcome, everybody. We're here battling this Mercury retrograde with our Prosecco, and we're glad to have you back with us. Today, part 2 with Melissa Sparrow. You are here with the crew of
Ohm-g, the podcast, as we welcome back our first international guest, Melissa Sparrow.
International Canada A. Are you from Canada A?
Hello, everyone. Hello. Yes, A. I'm from Canada. A.
Welcome back.
Yeah, we are so happy to have you back on for a part 2 of this episode. We are talking about light language activation healing. So maybe you can just explain to the audience, like, what is it? Because a lot of people probably have not heard of it at all.
Yes, first of all, I want to thank you all for having me back. I truly feel honored to be here with the gang. So light language is a very ancient language. We as souls have all heard it before, and we probably all have spoken it at one point in our many life journeys. So as practitioners, some of us speak it, some sing, some sign, and some do all of the above. Light language itself is filled with light codes and symbols. And it's called light language because that is how it appears to the inner eye when the practitioner is speaking it. So what I mean by that is it's the words themselves are lit with source, so gold, fire, right? Some say that, did you have a question?
I have a question about signing it. What does that mean?
When I say signing, I'm doing it. And of course, now your listeners aren't going to know what I'm doing. So essentially, it's like, I don't know if you guys have you guys heard of Kundalini activations?
Yes.
Okay. So it's much like that in that it's involuntary movement, but the movement actually is part of the language. That makes sense. So it's not so much like sign language, like as in we're signing words. Mm-hmm. It's just part of the flow of the energy that makes us move, if that makes sense at all.
Yes,
I don't know.
It makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. So as far as some like to say that we channel the light language from other beings, other realms. Some say we channel it through our higher self perspective, but I believe it's both because I know definitively when I didn't learn light language. I just started speaking this foreign tongue when I was healing others. And when I heal, often become this very ancient warrior shaman, and he's male, a medicine man, and he speaks it. And so I know that I'm channeling him. And I also know that I have heard it before because when I first heard it, there was some kind of resonance within my soul, deep within me that went, oh, this sounds familiar. Right? Yeah. But light language itself is really healing just to hear it, right? But each person's expression of it is individual, just like our voices. So there's not ever going to be the same type of sound, if you will, from practitioner to practitioner.
So this is Chandra, by the way. Would you say it's more like a certain vibration that you tune into than it is necessarily like a coded written language would be?
Yeah. So just like, when we as psychics are, channeling messages, we have to feel it through the heart center first. That's where light language flows. So just like anything else, that's where you tap into source, And then it's just love, really. When I'm doing it, I'm coming from my angelics, the realm of my angels and God. And, Raphael, he's my big guy. And just channeling that. Yeah.
So what was your first experience of doing light language? Like, did it spontaneously happen in the healing session?
Well, my first experience was actually when I was taking my Akashic record reading course. And the teacher gave us, attunements and activations through what we call DNA activations, which is essentially light language, right? Mm-hmm. Because light language actually helps you attune and receive ascension light codes, frequencies. And depending on what the intention is, when the practitioner starts speaking it, you will feel like, after a healing where you feel like you're just full of source, you can often feel that way just by listening to light language. So that was my first experience. I started vibrating. I was like, wow, like I feel the energy. Like, where is this coming from? And it just fascinated me. And then I also recognized, oh, that's what I'm speaking when I'm healing. Because I always thought, oh, what is it? Is it native that I'm speaking? Like, is kind of like, old indigenous language? But it really is, now that I know more about it, it's the light language that I was speaking.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
I had a client or a healer that I worked with for a little while, and he would do that. And I always wondered, like, what is it? Because it was never identified as being, something. And then it always hit me in my heart. And I would feel the emotion, I would feel the energy of it, but I didn't know what it was called until I think I had my session with you.
Right.
And knew that was what it was called.
Yeah.
Thing,
Yeah. Yeah. It's a modality. That's how I think of it. It's really in my arsenals of healing tools. That's how I look at it. I have my galactic tools that I use from my Ontarian galactic family. And then I have, my indigenous, tools that I use, my shamanic tools. And then I have my light language that I use. But even just the energy, because when I'm finished with, say, for example, going in and clearing your root chakra, right? There's so much involved with each healing ceremony that I do. And it's like an individual ceremony that I will do within each chakra itself. And when I'm finished, I will blow source energy in there. And so just from the breath itself, that holds, healing and light codes that are going into you, right? It's just holding that frequency. So even if you're not speaking it, you can even breathe it into someone.
Rosalie just got the goosebumps.
Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah.
Yeah, Rosalie here, a lot of what you just said totally resonated with me because I have that Arcturian indigenous stuff going on with me.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that just blew me away. And when you mentioned vibration during all this stuff, sometimes when I go to sleep at night, my whole body's vibrating and I don't know what's happening, but I just kind of just go with it. And I don't know where I go or what happens to me, but I can feel that vibration in my body. And I don't know if I'm astral traveling or what the heck is happening, but I just relax and go with it. And I don't know where I go.
I just got, Rosalie, that you're receiving upgrades. So, and that was happening to me as well. You're not alone. Like, I didn't know what was happening. I'd go to sleep at night and I would literally be vibrating with energy. And I'd be like, what is going on? And then a reader was able to tell me that, no, it's your angels. You're actually receiving upgrades and they're raising your frequency as you sleep. So just like lean into that.
I do.
Right?
I said, just take me wherever I'm going. I'm just going to roll with it.
Yeah. The only thing I would caution people if they're experiencing that, and is before you go to sleep, I would make sure you're doing a very clear grounding and protection.
Right? Yes. I definitely, try nightly as I go to sleep, talk to my guides and stuff, say, protect me, I'm calling in my protectors and my guides and stuff. And if something needs to be done, then I'm open to it. But yeah, I call in protection definitely and try to ground.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Hi, this is Chandra. Brenda and I would like to invite you as part of our podcast community to join us on either Facebook or Instagram Live each Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern U.S. time, where we give free oracle readings for fans of the show. Just follow us on our Ohm-g Podcast Facebook or Instagram page. You can post or DM us your questions there each week with the hashtag woo-woo-wisdom, and then tune in at 11 a.m. each Friday on our page to watch your free reading. If you can't join us live, don't worry. You can always catch it on the replay. This is just our way of saying thank you for being part of our woo-woo family. Hope to see you this Friday.
I mean, in any modality that you do, the most important part about it is the intention.
Yes.
Right.
The intention that you set and that you go into, whether it's working with your guides, working with angels, to set the intention that it be for the highest and best. Who we're working with. I mean, that's all we've talked about that on the podcast before. That's always like the eminent importance when you're when you're working with energies like that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Like even just the energy of complete and utter healing. Like when I finish with a healing session, I will go through the crown because I open a portal at the top of your crown. And then I go in and with Raphael's help, I will pour you with complete frequency of complete healing. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. And so, because that is really the only reason why we're not healed is our mind.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
We're in that energetic thought process of our ego. And unfortunately, when we're here on earth, we don't realize that we can just attune to the frequency of complete healing. And so frequency, like you said, Chandra, is so important because if we tune into the right one, it can do amazing things, right?
That's so cool because when you're talking about opening up a portal and like the crown chakra, like the top of my head just kind of like tingled and it was opening, and I was like, okay, hello.
Yeah, that was the other thing I learned in one of my courses was how to open portals and connect. Right, I connect one always at heart center and then crown, and it's. When you feel that beautiful source going through you, it's amazing, right? And when we're able to repair and expand our auric field, and then I always protect as well the auric field, because then at least you're in your little cocoon of divine love and light, right? And if you're protected, only that can permeate. So it gives you a really beautiful feeling.
So you talked about doing like little ceremonies in each chakra. And so what should somebody, if they want to come see you for a healing session, should they expect? Is it just like you kind of got your standard and you kind of go through all the same things with people, or is it specific to what you get from them that they need to heal?
That's a good question. I am always shown, what is needed to heal once I go into each chakra center. But I'm also shown physical, it's not just our chakras. There could be physical things that I am healing, right? So like migraine headaches or, disc issues in your back or ovarian cysts or whatever that might be. It's funny because I'll start healing and then all of a sudden I'll be pulled to a knee, that has cartilage issues or, and then they won't know. And then afterwards I'll be like, so what's with your knee? But so to get back on track, yes, I do a ceremony in each chakra. And when I do that, I actually take your soul up to the angels to be healed in this beautiful cocoon of green energy, and they always lay you in your favorite flower, and your loved ones often will come and help. And I go in and do my thing, but I often won't know until I get in there whether it's I have to close soul contracts and cut ancestral cords, or heal and transmute inner child issues, or maybe past life issues, or fragmented parts of our soul from this lifetime that are the result of trauma that we've, experienced. So it's really a very intuitive process.
when I go in and heal.
I have a question for you. This is Camille. And obviously, I stated in our previous podcast, I'm definitely going to book a session with you. Is there anything I need to do to prepare for that session that would make it more beneficial?
The only thing I would say is just come in with your heart open, honestly, the only job you have is to do that, is to, if you want to really amplify your experience, it would be wonderful if you could come in with the frequency of already being completely healed, right? Just resonate in that, right?
That's funny.
Hey, I'm just glad you didn't tell me to fast for 48 hours.
No, I'd never do that. But yeah, honestly, but that being said, I've had the most skeptical people come for readings and healings, and it doesn't matter. It's fine. It might be like concrete at first, but I'll get through.
You just keep going and going until you break through.
Exactly. It's kind of like chipping through ice. It really is.
So, Melissa, this is Erin here, and I have a question. It sort of relates back to part one. So those of you at home who might be listening to this and didn't catch the first conversation we had with Melissa, please go back and listen because it was so interesting. We talked about Akashic Records. But in that discussion, you kind of talked about starting your spiritual journey and realizing a job you were at was no longer for you and having this sort of like breakthrough moment and quitting. And I know that there was obviously like a lot of time and transformation and stuff that happens to get you to where you are now. But for those listening at home that are intuitive or empathetic or have gifts that they would like to kind of make a business out of or, become self-employed or help others or whatever and transition out of something that feels like it doesn't fit right. Do you have any sort of like advice or suggestions for those folks?
I absolutely do. And, it's wonderful that you brought that up. I feel it was divine because there's so many of my clients right now that are coming to me in that situation where they're just not happy. They're not, their job is no longer lighting them up. They feel like they're on Groundhog Day, right? Just presently, right? Like their status quo is just, this big cobweb blob of who they used to be. And they're just scared to surrender, really. And that was me. It's really scary to make big changes in your life, right? And to really trust and have that faith. I mean, we can all throw faith out there. Oh, yes, I have faith. But until you're tested, right? And you really have to trust that the universe has you. And that's why an Akashic reading is so amazing because your guides will say, hey, I see this timeline that I'm showing Melissa here, that, this is what you're meant to do. You are meant to actually dream big. And let's say, for example, you're really good with refurnishing furniture. Okay. You've always been artistic and it lights you up when you work with it. Well, guess what? Oftentimes you'll be shown that you're meant to do that for others. And then I'll be seeing, oh, you have a website. Oh, look at that. You're like abundance is flowing because you're aligning with what you're actually meant to do, as opposed to being stuck in a job that's making you miserable and just like making your energy so low and so dense and so far from source, right?
Amen.
Yep. Ladder for the people in the back. Amen. There are two.
So that's essentially what happened to me. So long story short, I realized, okay, I am miserable. I know there's got to be something more for me. And then I was magically and gratefully shown it. Yeah.
And I am so grateful that I connected with you on this realm because it's been very transformational for me, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Like life confirming what I had received. And also just, you're my soul sister.
I know. I'm so grateful because, we should tell the listeners, Brenda, we've known each other in many lifetimes, right?
Yeah.
We have healed together. We have run away probably from the people that wanted to kill us together.
Yeah. And I felt at some point.
Sorry, say that again.
I said, I feel like we should meet at some point. Literally.
I would love that.
Yeah.
I want to meet all of you now.
Yes.
We're coming to Canada. Look out.
You guys should, come to the prairies. It's beautiful. You should see our sunsets. It's like they go forever.
We accept. Yes.
Amazing.
And you know what I love? You've obviously, just with these couple of sessions, profoundly affected everyone here on this podcast.
Aww.
I'm excited about the fact that you are taking this magic out to the greater realm and helping other people. And it's been a wonderful experience. Thank you so much for being part of this with us.
You are so welcome. Would you guys like me to do a little light language healing for you?
Please.
That's exactly what I was going to have.
I knew. I was reading your mind, Brenda.
That's my sister.
Like, get out of my head. No, wait, come back.
I'm reading all of your minds right now. Okay, are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Ready.
Okay, so to receive light language, all you have to do is just close your eyes and just state you are ready to receive. Yiniaya kiayo koyo 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 dia dia yo koyo koyo dia dia Yiniaya nia koyo koyo dia shnya kaya dia ya nikish koyo koyo Yinia mayana ya Yinia yo koyo yo 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 Manana ya dia dia yo koyo shnya kaya shu 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 Haria ya shu Naya shnyakayania koyo. Hamaniani Yiriakania ko. Daria nia Yaria Kaya Tiashnyaka. Naya diakanyashnyaka. Miakaya ya koyo. Mianiaka. Media Yakayashnyaka. Gaya. How do you feel, guys?
That made me really emotional.
Aww.
Gratitude. Mega gratitude.
Good. I'm so glad.
The palms of my hands and all the way up my forearm started vibrating the second that you started speaking. And I just kept seeing the color orange.
See, there you go. So that's your sacral yelling at you.
Yeah.
It was so interesting. I felt like a pressure on like inside my forehead, so like the third eye area. And I was just like, okay, just, let it in, be open. And I kind of felt like my head being pulled back.
Mm-hmm.
And then a feeling on my throat, which I don't know if I've ever talked about it on the podcast, but I have Hashimoto's, so it's an autoimmune disorder. And I've been really thinking about, working on energetically kind of feeling, my eyes and my throat. So that was really kind of cool to feel that and like feel your head pulled back. And,
And I find it interesting how we all had very different experiences, because for me, animal totems just started flashing in front of my eyes immediately, like owls and buffaloes and wolves. And it was like a pinkish orange mist around them, and they were in gray. It was very beautiful. So, I love how we all had like really had a kind of like visceral reaction, but it was all very like individualized.
Individual.
So we,
Yeah. And that's the beauty of light language, because it's so, individual to each person that's hearing it, and it's going to heal you perfectly in the way that you need to, right? So for you, Chandra, you were probably experiencing a past life where you've heard it before. That's what I was getting. And, I just love that you guys actually received. So thank you.
That was amazing.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome.
Well, we can't each one wait to connect with you.
Yes.
Aw, I'm so glad. I can't wait to meet you guys as well. And be able to open your records and to give you some healing as well.
to our listeners out there, we'd love for you to share our experience. We'd love for you to share your experiences with us by either dropping us a comment on this Instagram post and tagging us and Melissa Sparrow, or commenting on our website, and we'll make sure Melissa can see them too, because we'd love to know what you guys got and what happened.
Right, because that's the beauty of energy. I mean, no matter when you're listening, we experience them in the moment when we're here visiting with Melissa. But with the beauty of energy, whenever you're listening to the episode, and if you tune in and give the permission to receive, you'll receive your own healing through what Melissa just blessed us with. So I find that heartening and enlightening. And, that in of itself just kind of speaks to the love that we have going on here today.
And for those listeners who are just coming in on this episode and haven't gone back yet to the first episode, first of all, judging you, just kidding. But, but Melissa, if they're just listening to part 2 first, would you mind sharing just how they can get in touch with you or how they can find out more information if they're interested in learning more about you and your work or booking a session?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would love to see, of course, all of you. So you can head to my website at melissasparrow.com, which will explain in detail all of my services that I offer. And if you would love to see more information day-to-day basis, you can head to my Instagram at Melissa Sparrow Healing.
Amazing.
Oh.
Yeah. Your Instagram presence is awesome. They're so cute.
Oh, well, you know what? It's reels are the thing now, right? And I also say, you know what? If I can't make fun of myself, then, who am I, right?
And sister.
Then who's going to do it, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't take myself seriously, so yeah.
Well,
other than, of course, my modality of healing. I do take that seriously, okay?
Yes, Camilla, you are our kind of healer. And for our kind of listener, thanks for being with us again. And thank you so much, Melissa, for joining us. This has been an awesome conversation.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Thanks, Melissa.
Thank you for joining us today. Please follow and subscribe to our podcast on Apple, Stitcher, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, and leave a review. It's so easy to do and such a huge help for us. We appreciate your interactions so much. Want to join us at our table? Make sure to check out our YouTube channel and join our Facebook community. If you've enjoyed this content and wish to support us, take a look at our Patreon page. All information and links will be in our podcast description. Catch you next time.
This podcast is part of the Sound Advice FM network. Sound Advice FM. Women's voices amplified.